Oh, does anybody know who Kathy is down there?
Mm-mm.
That's weird. Kick
I
from the
can't.
studio.
Yeah, I don't see anybody with us.
Don't know any Kathy.
Weird. Okay, well, we are live. We can just chat as we have some people hop in. So Marty, I've listened to you on. I originally found you on Michael O'Malley and his Clubhouse, and I loved it. And now I'm in the buzz, and I have a bunch of PBGs. But I was wondering where you are out of.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Awesome. Tennessee had a pretty good football year, didn't they?
Yeah, I can see I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan since probably about the 80s. But yeah,
Yes.
we had an exciting year. Just dropped the ball against South Carolina.
Yes. Oh, I know. Lisa, Happy New Year. Thanks for the comment. Cool. Well, I guess we've got 5 people on already. 2 hearts. So we'll get introductions out. I'm Hallie Beeler McCrory, realtor in San Angelo, Texas, and team lead, known for doing 90 deals a year in a small town, and definitely did that utilizing Marty's tactics. So excited to have him on today. And I've got my co-host, Casey Stiers, Miss Downtown Guru, and
Yes.
in Raleigh, North Carolina, but she is a North Carolina expert. And also, I mean, are you licensed in South Carolina yet?
Not yet. I need to work on that.
Okay. You are in Florida though too?
Not yet. I want to get
Working
that
on both.
as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm working
well,
on
soon
that.
to be Southeast Guru.
Yes. I'm trying to cover the
Hi
whole
Joy. Thanks for coming on. And then we've got Marty Human, also known as Marty Bahama, because it's because you always have the Hawaiian shirts on, right?
Usually, most of the time. I'm kind of getting away from them a little bit this year, so we'll see. I got a few of
Yes. Well, and you are both a realtor and a lender, right?
Used to be a realtor back in the mid 90s, and in the process of getting my license again, but been on the mortgage side since 2004.
Nice. What's making you go back to real estate, or like on the real estate agent side?
Well, just to send some referrals out, and having control of so many Facebook groups, I constantly get people reaching out to me all the time. Want me to connect them to a realtor, for either to buy a house or sell a house. So why not?
Yes, at least for the referral game.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you on. If you would you plug your group and your book just right off the bat?
Yeah, sure. The easiest way to find the book would just be get on Amazon. You can type in Marty Human or Marty Bahama, and it's the newest one I just come out with. And it's more of what I learned after a few years of messing with the Facebook groups is teach you how to use everybody else's Facebook groups to find buyers and sellers. But after a few years of using everybody's groups, I realized I could have been creating my own personal branding group, So that's where the second book has kind of come from. But yeah, you can reach out to me on Instagram under Marty Bahama anytime. I train a lot of realtors and have now for years, ever since 2018. And but I've been training loan officers, since 2004. But stumbled across the Facebook groups right around 2014, and been using them ever since.
Love it.
It's about 9 years now.
That's awesome.
I love it. Yeah. So I guess can you just kind of give us your journey from when you got started in the real estate industry, and then maybe touch on like 2014 when you got into Facebook groups?
Yeah. So for me, it started out as working for Blue Green Corporation in the mid 90s, and ended up getting my real estate license and going to work for Coldwell Banker. I didn't last. I'm like the 80%, 88% of realtors out there didn't make it to 2 years. I made about a year and a half before I finally got out of the industry and found my way into the mortgage world around 2004. And it just blew it up. I mean, it was 10 plus loans every month. And next thing you know, a year into the business, I become a branch manager, and I was teaching people how to do the same thing. But it wasn't, I got out of business for a few years, between 2008 and 2012, and then got back in it. And after a couple of years being in the business, a friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's open our own branch up." So we opened a branch up, and that was right around the very beginning of 2014. And we'd already started off buying Linden Tree leads, lower mobile leads, trying to reach out to realtors and say, hey, look at me, I'm a great loan officer, and doing some radio advertisement. And then about 6 months after we opened our branch up is when I stumbled across the first Facebook group, where most people either get introduced or stumble across Facebook pages. I didn't have a clue, even at that point, what a Facebook page was. I just happened to find a Facebook group, and it had right around 2,000 or 3,000 people in it. I went out there and I made a simple little post, trying to find people that want to buy a house. Next thing you know, that post blew up. And so for about, ever since now, 2014 all the way to now, out of all the branches that we have at Southwest Funding where I work at, there's only a few branches that doesn't pay for advertising. We're one of them. And we grew from one little small branch to now we've got about 10 different satellite branches out there, and all from the Facebook groups. But it wasn't around until 2018 is when I first wrote the book teaching realtors how to do this too, and loan officers. And what sparked that is I had a realtor reach out to me. She said, Marty, I see you all over Facebook. What are you doing exactly? Because I don't have any luck with Facebook. And I said, well, I use the Facebook groups. I don't, I just go in there and I create discussions in these Facebook groups. And I said, try it out for a week. I said, let me see what you do. So I kind of watched her. In about 7 days, 5 or 6, 7 days, she got on Facebook and went into some groups. And she did pretty much the same thing that most realtors out there do is, hey, look at me. I'm a realtor. Here's a beautiful set of keys or a beautiful house. And so it was a Saturday night. She reached out to me. She said, Marty, I'm not having any luck with these Facebook groups. And so I got on the phone with her and I said, okay, I said, I've been watching you and I see what you're doing. I said, now I want you to do what I do. I said, go to a Facebook group, create a simple discussion that says, hey, everyone, I'm a local realtor here. I finally found a lender to go down to a 580 credit score FHA, 600 USDA. Who wants to buy a house? Well, I didn't realize it while I was talking to her, but she went ahead and made that post. It wasn't even 1 minute after she made that post, she got a message from a guy named Troy Swartz. And I just remember this because it seemed like it was yesterday. But we closed that guy's loan about a month and a half later for $180,000. And then I realized at that point, well, Lord, I can teach all kind of realtors how to use these Facebook groups, which is absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything to do, and you can find all kind of buyers and sellers out of these Facebook groups. So I realized that, especially me being a realtor who didn't make it in the mid 90s because of lack of reach, lack of drive, lack of knowledge, But over time, it just kept getting. I created a Google Classroom that I built it in the very beginning of 2019. And basically it just teaches people, they learn that they're self-paced, because everybody's a little different as far as how fast they learn, what they want to learn. But it just teaches everybody about these Facebook groups, how to use everybody else's Facebook groups, how to create your own personal branding group, how to buy Facebook groups, how to use messenger groups. And I also teach a little bit about the mortgage knowledge too, because there's some things that I think that realtors should definitely know as far as different types of loans out there. And also too, we've got all the posts and polls you can use. And I even go to the level of having those messages people need to send out, to keep it short and sweet, less stuffy. So basically to help people convert, not just find clients, but also to convert to clients.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've seen going through your course. I love it because you literally have everything step by step, like through closing. It's awesome. So I've only done I haven't ordered your books yet. I need to. I think they've already come out, right? The new one's already come out.
Yeah. If you just go to Amazon and type in Marty Bahama, you'll see the latest one. Now it's still in the process of me going back and forth with the editor because I got some more stuff I need to add to it. But more of that's on the loan officer side. So as far as a realtor goes, this right here, this book would teach you exactly how to create a group, not a page. And I tell you the difference between what I tell everybody as far as what's the difference between a page and a group, Marty? To me, a page would be like somebody driving through my neighborhood here through the subdivision, maybe waving at me while I'm walking outside, but that would be the interaction that we would have. That'd be it. Where a Facebook group is more like I invite them over to the backyard barbecue. Now they're hanging out with me. I'm getting to know them. So the interaction that you have between a group and a page is just night and day difference.
Right. I agree with that. So which book do you recommend people reading first?
The first one I basically tells the story, and then even at the end of this book right here. So I would say this one first because this one tells the story of kind of how it all happened, and then at the very end of the book, I've got basically an outline of what you can do to get on Facebook in these groups and find clients immediately. I've had probably, I don't know, like I told you the other day, I have thousands of screenshots of people saying, thanks to you, I'm succeeding in this business. I was able to make it in this business. I don't have to pay for advertising. I've had people tell me they completely turned off paying $5,000 to $6,000, $7,000 a month in advertising because of these Facebook groups.
I mean,
I was going to say, I'm not a monster Facebook fan, but I am a monster Facebook group fan because all these other avenues that we have, whether it be realtor.com, whether it be door knocking, all these are just different avenues, just like Facebook groups an avenue. But Facebook group would be the interstate of all those avenues. It's just fast and straight to clients immediately.
I agree. And it's just so much more leverageable, I feel like. And I was going to say too, I'm in your Buzz team, like the Facebook message group. I mean, and it's every day there's people talking about the success they've had. I mean, it's nuts. I have to like mute the notifications and go back and look when I can, because everybody's like, I mean, it's just, and it's not even like, people talking about themselves, but then it's also other people pumping you up and giving you advice. And there's always like, so is James, and I see James on there. Is that your son or?
No, James is actually my real name. James Martin Human. Yeah.
So you have two accounts then?
Yes. Yeah. I got one. Easiest way to reach me is this Facebook group. I mean, Facebook to Marty Bahama Human or James Human, either one. But I don't much care for the name James. I like the Marty better. So, I had to have a couple accounts.
So, okay. So do you want to tell people the difference between the Buzz formula online versus getting your book?
Yeah, basically, if they ordered the first book here, in this one you type in Marty Human, not Marty Bahama. But if you type in Marty Human on Amazon, this book will pop up, and it just shows you an outline of like different posts a couple different posts that you can use. But this is written back in 2018. Here we're 5 years later. I've got probably 50 different posts that you could use to find buyers. I had a realtor ask me one day. She said, "Marty, can you help me find sellers?" And this is probably back in 2000 and maybe in 19, probably middle of 2019. And I said, "Well, I've not ever tried to find sellers on Facebook. Let me try." So I got on Facebook and I created a poll in one of my groups and woke up the next day. I had 10 people telling me they'd want to sell their house. Some of them had to do minor work to sell their house. Some of them had to do a lot of work to sell their house. Some of them didn't know if they'd get pre-approved for another loan. But so I took it to a different level. The next day, I created that same poll in 10 different groups. I woke up the next day with over 100 people that tell me reasons they'd like to sell their house and give me reasons why they hadn't sold it yet. So so I immediately switched over to not just trying to find buyers, to also trying to find houses or trying to find sellers. And then took it to a level of trying to find for sale by owners, and we can use the groups to find for sale by owners. And so the book will give you just a little bit of an outline, but actually joining the Buzz, you get access to my Google Classroom, but you also get access to that messenger group he was talking about that has hundreds of agents in there, and you get access to me personally. So I do a lot of one-on-one Zooms all the time with people, trying to help them in everything that I teach people. This is probably the most amazing part of all of this, is everything I teach people is 100% mobile. You don't have to get on your desktop or your laptop to do this. We teach you how to do it on your phone. And I'm telling you, when you switch over to using your phone and using text replacement, we give you all the posts and all the polls, all your responses, all your messages to go into your phone. It makes life so much easier. So much easier.
So have you, I guess, a question I have, so this has been really successful for me being in a small town. I'm in a town of 125,000 people. Do you see like better success in cities versus small towns, or like pretty much same success rates?
Pretty much the same. It really all depends on individual drive and the direction that people want to go. Since I teach so many different things about the Facebook groups, honestly, and not to boast of myself, but I feel like I know just as much about these Facebook groups as anybody on this planet, except for Facebook themselves. They probably know a little bit more than I do, but I know how to find the clients out of these Facebook groups. And I've got Facebook groups in pretty much and been in Facebook groups in every state across the United States and in different countries. And I've used these same posts and these same polls from all the way from California to where I had 10, 15 people said they'd want to sell their house for $2 or $3 million, all the way down to Florida, up to New York, everywhere. So it's really it depends on the individual and how you want to attack the Facebook groups. Like, for example, one realtor we have out in North Carolina, she only uses her personal branding group. She grew it from 0 members to now she's got like 6,000 members. And I think she says she closed 80 or 90 transactions since she's created her group from the beginning to now, just out of her personal branding group. Almost all her business comes out of there. But then I've got some other realtors and loan officers that typically just use everybody else's Facebook groups and pulls clients out of those groups and don't focus on growing their group as much. So people attack these groups in different ways, you know.
What do you, is there, you know, is it better to do both, or would
Yes.
you say, okay.
Yeah. And that come from where, as even on the loan officer side, being able, because I used to close a lot of loans myself, and I was using these Facebook groups myself before I started teaching everybody and started growing so much, is I realized after about 3 or 4 years of using everybody else's Facebook groups that I should already had my own Facebook group. I should have created my own homes for sale group, my name and the title, and because it gives people a different way to find you. You know, if somebody searches, you're in, is it San Angelo? Is that where you're at?
San Angelo, yes.
So if somebody wants to go type that in and just maybe they're thinking about moving there, they go to Facebook and they type it in. Well, then there's a great chance if you've got a personal branding group with your name in it, well, all of a sudden your group pops up. Now they associate you subliminally with a path to either buying or selling a house. And then I've seen the true value in these Facebook groups probably about 2016, probably into 2015, when they started letting us ask 3 questions to all the new members joining the group. So a lot of times when you're joining a Facebook group, you'll see questions like, why do you want to join this group, or where are you located at? Where my questions were geared towards trying to find people that want to buy or sell houses. You know, what's stopping you from buying a house if you're not a homeowner yet? Credit, income, down payment, didn't know where to start, or are you planning on buying or selling a house this year? Just those type of questions. So it gives you an easy in to everybody wanting to join your group. And these groups, they become alive. So as you start giving what we call the Buzz Kickstart, and I've got like 30 different ways. That's definitely not in that book right there. One reason you need to join the Buzz, 30 different ways to grow your Facebook group. And all of a sudden it starts growing by itself. Next thing you know, and I've got one myself that I started. What's crazy about it is it's called Tennessee Homes for Sale. Marty Human Makes Home Buying Easy. Well, I put about 75 people in that group back in 18, something like that. And today it's got close to 5,000 people in it. But I stopped after I put those 75 people in there. That's about the same time I said, you know what? Instead of me focused on trying to close loans myself, I'm going to teach people, everybody else, how to do this and how to create these personal branding groups. But even just putting those 75 people in there has now led to almost 5,000 people. And those 5,000 people get to see me. They get to see the questions I asked. They get to see any pin or any post that I pin to the top of that group as an announcement. So it's just so much easier to reach people that way.
And I'm sure it's all consistency game, like everything else is, like being consistent and engaging with people.
Oh yes, definitely. It's about building relationships. At the end of the day, I tell everybody it's really about your reach. These Facebook groups will expand your reach better than anything I've ever seen before. And then it's about having that ability to be able to send a message, and in that message to be able to create a relationship. You know, and that's what it's all about. Is we had one realtor in Jackson, Tennessee, that he, after maybe 2.5 years of being a Buzz team member, he had 18,000 direct messages of real people, real heartbeats that want to buy or sell a house. And this guy has had several months where he's closed 10 plus transactions a month thanks to the Buzz.
Gosh, that is crazy. That's, I mean, just amazing.
Life changing numbers.
And it's, I mean, it's essentially free or very low cost, you know, depending on what route you go. But it's like I think I love the Facebook groups because the leads are so much better, and I'm not paying near as much as if I were doing realtor.com leads or Zillow leads, you know, the ones that I think a lot of new agents can get trapped into, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. So when you're a new agent and you try to do that, it's hard to pay that money for advertising and still not really know the business that well. You know, and then you got to try to learn the business at the same time, and you're getting sucked out all that money. So yeah, it's definitely a lot easier, and it's free. And I don't charge much, you know. For me, I'm pretty laid back. I charge a one-time fee of $495. I let a lot of realtors pay half of it up front and then half when they close the deal. And then for brand new agents or any agent that's been in the business less than 2 or 3 years, I usually only charge them $10 a month. And
Yeah.
me being that cheap, only charging $10 a month, a lot of them, the attitude is like, well, it must not work if it's only $10 a month. But this is not my business is Southwest Funding on the mortgage side and my branches. This is more of a hobby and more of a passion because I didn't make it as a realtor. I know how tough it is,
Yeah.
and so I make it as cheap as possible. And plus two, I enjoy it. I love helping people.
I love that. Go giver.
Yes.
So we had someone drop a
Oh, I see that.
question. Yeah. Hello,
So,
please. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
I'll go ahead and give you some great examples, Pam. And that is, I use the buy sell trade group. So a lot of people, when they first start talking to me or they start hearing about these Facebook groups, and they're in real estate, they automatically think realtor groups. Well, I don't. What kind of realtor groups are out there? Well, I use the buy sell trade groups, the homes for sale groups, the apartment for rent groups. Those groups are by far the best to find clients in. Even you don't think about a buy sell trade group being that great of a group, but I promise you, if you stay away from marketplace. So when you click into a group where it says, what are you selling? That's not where I'm at. Right above that, there's a little tab that says start discussion. This is all about starting discussions. And then not only starting discussions, but realizing that I could go to a Facebook group right now, any buy, sell, trade group, and I can say, hey, who wants to buy a house? Message me. And I may get some messages. I may get somebody to say B. But if I say, hey, who wants to buy a house? Comment below. Well, all it takes is one person to comment, me send them a direct message. I don't answer anybody's questions in front of anybody else on Facebook. I send them a direct message. Now I've got a direct link, which I've told many people that I think that direct link to somebody through Messenger is about 1,000,000 times stronger than me giving somebody a business card, because they will find you. They'll come back 2 or 3 years, 4 years down the line where they would have never found your business card 2 or 3, 4 years down the line. But just being able to do that and then going back to your post and saying PM sent, it creates what we call the buzz. And next thing you know, you might get 50 comments, you might get 100 comments, you might get 200 comments. But yeah, any buy sell trade groups, by far the best ones to look for out there.
Yeah, and I don't know about other cities, but San Angelo's are very active. There's people post. I own a couple, and the ones that I have, people are posting in them maybe every 3 minutes.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's, of course,
nonstop.
it's a lot of junk and stuff, but people are definitely monitoring them. And I think Facebook does a good job of, if someone that you're friends with, post something in a group, you get a notification. So that definitely helps too. I've had people tell me all the time they see my listings just from I'll share my listings and Facebook groups. That's not what you teach, but I happen to do that as well, just for extra reach. And even having that feature, people not even in the market see it and tell their friends or, tag them. So I think Facebook does.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go.
I was going to say, you also brought up a great point. You said you have a couple of groups. You have control of a couple of groups. Well, I started buying these Facebook groups and picking them up for free back in 2017, probably 3 years after I started using Facebook groups. And having control of a Facebook group that has 30, 40, 50,000 people in it can be life-changing, because all of a sudden now you have a banner that you can put your information up top. And every day, like you said, that Facebook group is getting posts, it's getting people to want to join it every single day. They get to see who you are. And now all of a sudden they know you're a path to either buying or selling a house. But also too, having control of those groups like that, you're able to do so much more than just using everybody else's Facebook groups, including your PBG, your personal branding group. When you grow it up, when you grow it to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 members, there's so many different things you can do, like create welcome posts. You can create an intro message that automatically gets sent to everybody who joins the group. A welcome post welcomes all the new people every 2 or 3 weeks that join your group. You can take all your posts, pin them to the top as announcements, and then you can also tag everybody into that post. So next thing you know, you get so much more feedback that way. So yeah, controlling Facebook groups is definitely a strong plus. And it don't have to be a lot of Facebook groups. You could have one Facebook group or two in your hometown, because realtors are a little different loan officers. We cover the entire state. So I might cover from Memphis all the way to Bristol, Tennessee. Where a realtor, most of the time, you're usually covering about a 1.5, 2 hour driving ratio. But having a big group in that little section right there that you have full control of is like having a billboard out there on the interstate, but about 1,000,000 times better, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Pam said, okay, thank you. What is a good first group to start? So maybe would you say like depending, let's say San Angelo, for example, like buy, rent, sell San Angelo, Texas, or
Well, if you're just going to start a group, Pam, it all depends on your location. And let's say you're in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'll use that for an example. I would create a group called Knoxville, Tennessee Homes for Sale, or even Homes for Sale / Rent. Even though you're not really messing with renters, you want people to join your group. And even if they rent today or rent this year, that's okay, because hopefully in 2 or 3, 4 years down the line, because you got to think about longevity. Longevity and a bigger. So I tell everybody, as a matter of fact, if I was a realtor and I was in Knoxville, I wouldn't have Knoxville, Tennessee group. I would have East Tennessee group. Because if it's too far out of my driving area, guess what? I'll work that referral program. I'll get my 25, 30% off the referrals. So yeah, it all depends on your location, but I would call it a homes for sale group. And I would also have your name in the title, because you want another way to people to be able to know that's your group and to be able to associate you with that path to buying or selling a house.
absolutely. So would you say if you do get, in a bigger area, is it better to niche down? Like I've seen, like in Texas, we have like Texas ranches for sale or Texas horse properties. When you get if you try to focus on a bigger area, I mean, if you're a realtor, I guess if you're a lender, you can work any, but
Right.
as a
Well, me
realtor,
personally, I would definitely try to focus on a bigger area because it's going to make your group grow better.
yeah.
I've
Okay.
had one Buzz team member out in Texas. She's close. Yeah, she's in Dallas, and she's grown her personal branding group almost 20,000 people, right around 22,000 people. But she
Nice.
used the whole area, that Dallas DFW and surrounding, and then she put like maybe apartments to rent and something else into the title. Because the great thing about the Facebook groups is you can have a long title. It ain't just a short title. It could be a long title to give you more area to put more stuff in there, which is going to be able to attract more people. So yeah, so like for Pam, as far as the southwest suburbs of Chicago, I would just say Chicago. I'd want it all, because like I said, work that referral program.
Yep. And we've got Silas here too. What are some pitfalls to prepare for in these groups?
I would say the biggest pitfall is if you're creating your own group it's not going to go from 0 members to 1,000 members overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some drive, and consistency. That's the biggest thing. And Facebook has actually changed a little bit, where in the past I could create a post and I'd go to a group I've never been in. I could create a post and that post would blow up within seconds. I would have realtors and loan officers on the phone saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is amazing. Now Facebook has made it where, just like everything else out there about algorithms, but it's also too about consistency. So the more you post on Facebook, the more Facebook is going to let your stuff be seen out there. The more they're going to know you're real. That's the first thing they want to know. A lot of people will go from like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, like they're driving a Tesla in these Facebook groups. And sometimes Facebook will slap you on the wrist saying, hey, are you Marty Human? Are you real? Because I'm not used to you doing all this. Usually you're just searching, you're not posting, you're not doing anything. But so that's probably one of the biggest pitfalls is being consistent. And when I say being consistent, at one time in our life, I would tell people you need to be posting 30 times a day. You need to post 10 times in the morning, 10 at lunch, and 10 at night. Now I would say 5 times a day. If you can make 5 posts in a day, or if you can create 5 polls, and the difference between the two is, let me kind of break this down for you real quick, is if I create a post out there, hey everyone, I'm a local realtor here who's looking to buy a house. I work with some great lenders named Marty Human. Comment below. Well, if I created that post, as soon as somebody comments, I'm going to send them a message through Messenger, and then I'm going to say PM sent, and they're going to expect that message. But if they create a poll out there, and one of the great polls that we love to create is, and it's an easy poll to find buyers, is what's stopping you from buying a house? Credit, income, down payment, didn't know where to start. That's going to be your options you put below that poll. And you're going to have all kind of people click those options. I've had over 100 people in a day click those options on one little poll I created. And then now it's on me to send these people friend requests, to send them messages. Hey, thanks for clicking my poll option. You say credit's a problem. Do you have anything financed right now? It's on me to send that message and to start that relationship. So that's the difference in the two things that, as far as I usually teach people, but also too, like I said, there's other things like finding for sale by owners. It's easy to go in these groups, hit the search button, look for a house for sale. Next thing you know, and I had a realtor out in Houston, Texas, named
Mhm.
Rena. She took my advice on this one day. So she's like, all right, I've never tried that before, Marty. I'm going to try it. She searched for a house for sale. She commented on it. She even invited them to let them post their house in her personal branding group. Well, she didn't end up being the seller for that person, or, as far as their listing goes. But that person was so appreciative of her doing that, she let her be the buyer's agent on her next house, which is like 700,000 plus. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I love it. Okay, so quick question. When you said posting 5 polls a day, that's in different groups, not in the same group, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making
And
sure.
you kind of base that too off of people say, well, how many times can I post in a group? Well, if that group's got 25, 30,000, 40,000 people in it, you can post in that group every day as a discussion, fly under the radar. Usually the admins don't care about discussions. What they don't want to see a lot of times is websites, pictures. And here's the great thing about that is pictures don't work. Pictures
Yeah.
don't bring in clients like a lot of realtors and loan officers think they do. Insurance agents, everybody out there tends to go to that same path. Well, let me put a meme in here, or let me put a picture in here. But a lot of times that kind of scares people, think it's an advertisement. So we just
Right.
learn how to advertise without advertising. But yeah, post those 5 polls in 5 different groups, or the 5 posts in 5 different groups.
So I think we kind of answered this possibly. So Silas said, if you are in multiple cities, should you create multiple groups per city? I mean, maybe you could do multiple groups and then have one big group for the whole area.
Well, the problem with that mentality is, or that thinking is okay. So let's say I want to create all kind of different groups around East Tennessee here, or different cities. Well, you still got to grow them. You can create them all day long, but it's still going to take some time as far as growing those groups goes. And then, if as far as the so I've got some people that has multiple personal branding groups, multiple homes for sale groups. And Pam, I would still, whether you want to target just buyers or sellers, I Pam, Chicago Homes for Sale is great. But if you don't want to mess with the buyers, hey, that's okay. Just try to send them, to try to refer them out. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I would have your whole name in there though. I don't want people to know your whole name, so that way when they'll know to call you, because there could be a lot of Pams out there in that area.
Absolutely. So if people want to find you, they can go find you on Facebook. We put your Facebook page in our link tree. And you know what? I'll post that in the chat as well.
Yeah, I have a Facebook page under Human Energy Buzz, or I've got a few Facebook groups out there I use, like one's Facebook group marketing for real estate agents and loan originators, or you can just message me directly anytime, Marty Bahami Human, or James Human, I don't like that name. You can message either one of those 2 accounts.
I just friend requested you on all of them, so I look like this.
Awesome.
Do you still have, is it Dawn working for you?
Yeah, Don Marie's my assistant. She's the one who usually, whenever somebody signs up to be a Buzz team member, she'll usually be the one who gets them kind of into our, because Google Classroom is pretty protective as far as making sure they keep our stuff private. So they'll usually, it takes a Gmail in Gmail to get access to it. And the great thing about that Google Classroom, like I tell everybody, is you kind of work at your own pace. You could go to different sections in there, and you could see if hey, I just want to buy a Facebook group, so this is where I got to go to do that. Hey, I just want to know all the posts and all the polls. How do I find sellers? Well, this is where I go to find that. But yeah, she kind of helps me out as far as getting everybody started. And then I do a weekly Zoom, usually on Wednesdays or Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and also 2 unlimited one-on-one Zooms. So I'm a workaholic. I'll be on a Zoom at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I might be on one at 2 in the morning at nighttime. So I'm a worker.
Love it.
Too.
Okay, I'm working on getting I'm just sharing the our link tree. Just give me a moment. Casey, did you have any comments, or do you see people doing those in the Raleigh area?
Yes. Oh, I mean, there are a few agents that are doing them, but I think what he's saying might put us ahead of the game. So
Yeah. His stuff is
It's not
very
something I've been
technical.
familiar with, but it's something that while he was talking, I was trying to look at it and play around. So if I have any questions, so
I
Linktree.
just got a one of my best friends who got me into mortgage business back a long time ago is in Raleigh, North Carolina. He just got his license working for EXP.
okay, what's his
His name
name?
is Joe Delbridge.
Nice.
Sound familiar? Not yet. You'll
No,
hear him
but
soon. Because he called me today picking my brain. He goes, "Okay, Marty, how do I find some buyers and sellers?"
I need to know him. I need to send him this listing I have. It's a townhome. So
So Pam said, "What are the details about your group?" You've already mentioned some. Are there any other details that people might need to know?
You know, it's going to work. It's got 100% success ratio for people who actually put it in action. You know, it's a matter
Yeah.
of just,
being
I've had some people say, well, this is not working. Well, let me see some of your posts. Let me see some of your polls. The great thing about when you're part of the Buzz Team group is I'm going to give you messages and responses that's going to help you convert. So it's one thing at first I was like, okay, everybody, here's how you find the clients. Well, they found these clients, but then they still wasn't converting. Well, let me see some of the messages you send to people. So I kind of help you tweak everything all the way from your posts, your polls, into your message and your responses, and just make it very, very systematic, very easy. It all goes into your phone, no matter if you got an Android or an iPhone. It all goes in there. We use text replacement, and it makes life
Mhm.
amazing. As a matter of fact, I've had a lot of people just a text replacement alone has definitely changed their life, and they use it even outside the Facebook groups. Even I use it. I got one for my kid, typing a couple letters, hurry up and get your butt home. You know, so it's as far as being part of our group, you're going to become part of a group of a bunch of realtors out there in different states. So you're going to be able to see what they post or see what they comment, like Hallie said earlier about them going into our messenger group and just leaving messages like, "Hey, I closed on this deal." I had Ron Daly the other day said I was closed $2 million in sales last week thanks to the buzz. But you'll also see some posts and polls that they've come up with and some feedback from them too. So it's kind of we all work together because I always tell everybody, hey, there's the next best poll is out there, the next best post is out there, and sometimes it's one of our Buzz team members that comes up with it, not just Marty Human. You know,
Yeah,
so we all work together.
absolutely.
And thank you, Joy, for saying you bought my this morning. That is freaking amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and well, I love it too because you kind of show how you can use like Facebook has features where you can kind of have your own mini CRM within your workspace there, and it's I personally enjoyed that part too. I mean, on top of the specific data that you give,
Oh yeah,
but
and I'm
the
super
fact that you can
cheap.
kind of
Yeah.
yes,
Buy me a cheeseburger a month. It's not even a good cheeseburger anymore. It used to be a good cheeseburger. Now it's like a cheeseburger from like Wendy's or Burger King. But
yeah,
$10 a month, and you get the best training. And Lord, just a lot of training I train as far as like teaching people about the loans, what the types of loans. Just some of that training right there by itself is worth the $10 a month. Not counting, hey, I'm going to teach you how to never have to pay for
Mhm.
advertising ever again.
Hey, okay, so links to Marty's group. I just have Marty's Facebook page, but let me see if I can pull up his actual group. It's Human Buzz, right?
Human Energy Buzz is a Facebook business page, but my group is a Facebook group marketing for realtors and loan originators. Let me see if I can pull that up and send it to you real quick.
Okay, I got it.
Got it?
Yes, and I will post that in the chat. Thanks, Molly for the comments.
Let me see if I'll send this to you too, just to make sure it's the right one.
Okay.
I'm sure it is.
The one I pulled. Yep, that's the one I posted. Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, when you join that group right there, I'll and just send me a friend request to Marty Bahama Human or James Human, and I'll send you a message, and then I'll get you into that group. That's not my that's kind of a training group I use, but it's not really my ultimate training group. That's more of a group of saying, hey, if you're having problems finding buyers or sellers, join this group, and I give advice in there all the time to you. But being part of my Google Classroom and then part of our messenger group with all the other realtors is definitely game changing.
Yes, and I'm gonna put the but I think if people want to join the actual group that you pay for, they reach out to you
Yeah,
directly.
just message me. Yep. That's the
Okay.
easiest way.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome.
Website's being redone right now, so it's slow in the making. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I've always been anti websites, and I had one for a long time. But I tell realtors, like, a lot of realtors say, "Hey, I need a website. I need a website." Well, I'd rather have a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Facebook group is just direct. It's right there because you're not actually selling products usually, unless you got a listing. But so where websites are more for products, this is more for interaction and reach.
Joy. Oh, Joy. He said to message them on either of his Facebook accounts.
Marty Bahama Human would be perfect.
Okay. And if you go to the link tree, I posted his like the very first button on the top. That'll be Marty's profile to message. But you can message either if you found them. Awesome. Casey, do you have any other questions? I think I got all mine answered.
I think you answered a ton of them. Now I just need to play around with it and then reach out to you because when I start doing it, I know I'm going to have questions. So, for $10, Hallie, how did you two meet?
So I was listening to Michael O'Malley and Bobby Jones Clubhouse probably like a year ago. You were on, Marty, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And I was already working Facebook groups. I've just found that they're really popular here in San Angelo, so I was already working them. So that Clubhouse really resonated with me, and I jumped on the opportunity to join the Human Buzz. And I haven't even gone through all of the Google Classroom, but what I have gone through and what I have utilized has brought me a ton of leads, and for very cheap. Like I think I have 3 or 4 Facebook groups. Instead of building my own, actually, I am building a commercial group now because I'm bringing on a commercial agent, and some of my agents do commercial as well. Just being in a small town, but the other ones I have, I actually either picked up from people who didn't want to manage them anymore, or paid maybe like $100 for a group of 5,000 people, which I think is $100 is nothing to reach 5,000 people, in my opinion.
No, it's
I
not.
actually picked up one. The admin, I guess, was tired of being an admin and removed themselves. So it was like an open, I was constantly in there like posting stuff, and realized there was no admin and just picked it up, and it was like a group of 30,000 people. So I think
That's
just
awesome.
kind of paying attention and being consistent in those groups it definitely can pay off, even in ways that I didn't even learn in the group. But I just saw that it was like, make yourself an admin. I'm like, okay.
You're like, here we go. Here we go.
And you're right. You're right about that. So I had a group in Jackson, Tennessee. I tried to buy off a lady, had 25,000 people in it, and she wouldn't sell it to me. She said, "Marty, you're doing me the biggest favor ever. Please just take this group." And so because some people don't know how to work the groups, like I've got full control of groups, probably 200 plus groups. I'm not stressed. Ain't no sweat coming off this head right now. I learned how to let the groups work for me and without me having to babysit them. And that's what I teach people too, is to have people running your groups for you, and you still getting to pull all the clients out of it.
Yep. I just started having my assistant help me.
Awesome.
Do you recommend, like, when people join your groups, like messaging them like, hey, thanks for joining the group? Obviously you talked about the welcome posts, but when people join your group, do you ever message them directly if it's like specifically a buy, rent, sell group, and say, are you looking for anything specific?
1,000%, yes.
Okay.
And the thing about what you realize is eventually you'll have so many messages just straight down of all these different people. And that's what I said. That's why the messenger is so much stronger than a business card, because we've had people reach back out to us 3-4 years later saying, okay, I'm ready. Like, how'd they find me? Well, they found me because they don't have as many messages as I do. They probably, got a few messages, and especially about homes. So, so that's the great thing about the messengers. You're tying yourself to this person directly.
Yeah. So Pam said, Hallie, what are some groups you've had the most success with? definitely the ones focused on real estate. But even posting, I mean, this isn't what Marty teaches, but I've had success posting in other groups. You know, a listing I have and saying, you know, 0 down payment available, or like kind of buzz terms like that, or you know, message me about down payment assistance. And I think you would be able to really get a handle on some of those buzz terms, or, you know, some buzz terms that might work from doing the polls that Marty says. Like, you know, who has if you're asking, you know, let's say the
stopping you
question
from
is,
buying a house?
right?
You know,
Like, look at
credit,
those.
income, down payment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also too, like you said, I'm real big about I think the homes for rent groups and the homes for sale groups that other people's created out there, those groups are awesome. You know, somebody on here from Chicago, there was a Chicago homes for rent group, and it's homes and apartments for rent. And I posted that in that group, and had a realtor post in that same group too. And I remember my post probably got 100, 200 comments on it. And even hers, I remember her making a video for me saying, I can't believe this. We're 2 weeks later after me making this one post in this group, and I'm still getting people to ask for info. You know, to still comment on it. So yeah, those
I know.
those. Now, when I say I don't use like if I was a realtor, I wouldn't be using, like, you got the new real estate agents group. You got different realtor groups out there. Those groups per se don't bring in the clients as near as good as like the homes for sale groups do.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
or the buy sell trade groups. So I think the homes for sale, those kind of groups or rent groups are just a little bit better, or a lot better than the buy sell trade groups.
Yes. Yeah. It just sometimes it works out that the buy sell trade groups have more people. So if I'm posting a listing, then it can get more eyes in that one. But I know the buy sell rent groups are my targeted people usually.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they already bought a house, but then even so, at that point, they're a little bit more educated about it, the process, and can tag their friends and say, oh, like, look at this, or I don't know. Yeah, it depends, but yeah.
They work to the extreme.
100%. I was
Enough
gonna
to
ask,
where, like, out of 100,
have to be consistent.
out of over 100 branches with Southwest Fund and me and my partner, I think we might be the only two, like, I guess you say combo as far as partnership goes, but we don't have to produce. We've not produced loans now in over, you know, since 2018, not had to originate loans thanks to the Facebook groups. And because not only do I teach people how to, a lot of realtors are into recruiting other realtors. Well, guess what? I also teach that too. There's many posts and polls I come up with to be able to find other realtors to join your team, just like I have loan officers. And most of our loan officers have come from Facebook. You know, there's different groups out there.
I did not even think about that. That's and especially for, you know, EXP agents like me and Casey, and the ones that you've talked about, that's invaluable. Or, you know, I mean, even brokers looking for people on their team. So that's awesome. I'm gonna put the link tree back up too, so people can find that. Well, I think the last question I have, and I know you cover this in your group, but I think it's probably something that people are wondering about that are watching. Is it better to have your group private or public?
Private.
I was just thinking that. That's funny because I was looking at his page.
At one time, I would have said public, but Facebook, you got to adapt to changes. And over time, Facebook has made a lot of changes, and now they let their public groups. They let people that's not on Facebook, that maybe on Instagram or different platforms, they let them participate in the group. And so now all of a sudden your group kind of looks like a page. People follow it instead of just join it. So I want, and here's a reality. We all like being part of something, part of some kind of group, so at private group, you actually feel like you're part of it. Plus it's easier to set your questions up. It's just easier now that it's private, and you're able to keep the riffraff out a little bit better.
Yeah. And that's the another thing I love about being in the Buzz group, the online form. I'm definitely gonna get the books too, but you're always like, I always get notifications about you updating things, changing things as Facebook changes, and we all know Facebook and Meta change all the freaking time. So
That's one reason the Google Classroom is so big, is because, when I see a change on Facebook, I'll immediately go in there. I want to beat everybody to the punch. So I'll usually make a video on it. And I've probably got 100 plus, maybe 200 plus videos that people can watch, that kind of either me showing my screen and I'm making a post, or I'm sending messages, or I'm creating polls, or this video is showing, okay, here's a new change that Facebook has made.
So I just thought of another question I had based off you saying that. I know you said that pictures and they don't really do that well in Facebook groups, but what about like videos? Like if I were to do a poll and, people give me all the answers of why they are struggling to buy a home, could I also post videos for education
Without
to maybe
a
get
doubt.
leads, or at least
you can do both. You can do, and I'll tell you what, really, because reels didn't exist back in those days, and so now these reels have gotten really popular, and I've got many realtors and loan officers that has told me they're closing a lot of deals just by getting on Facebook, going live, and creating a 30-second reel on Facebook, and or a minute, reel, whatever. But also too, I've got some realtors who have created a little short video, a little introduction video. So whenever somebody wants info, they'll actually send them that little video instead of just sending them a message. Some of them just send a little video, says, well, here's what it takes to buy a house, this credit score, trade lines. And so they'll get a little more in detail in their video, and they've said it's helped their conversion ratio out a lot. Because at the end of the day, we've got to, in our world, we've got to close deals. Almost all of us are commission only. We don't get paid unless we get a deal closed. It's all about getting that deal closed, and we're helping people at the same time. So it's a perfect gratification.
Exactly. That's how I think of it too. Well, if anybody has any last minute questions, please put them in the chat. Casey, you got anything before we log off?
Just one more time, which page did you want people to message you on?
Just my Facebook profile, Marty Bahami Human. That's the easiest way, and or James Human. Either one of those two, you can send me a friend request, send me a message. Either one of those two.
Yep. Which I've already done.
Yeah, the Marty Bahami Human is perfect.
Awesome.
Maybe your newest member of the buzz.
Yes.
I love it.
This has been a great first show of 2023. I think
thank you so much. Thank you for having me on here. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I can share the wealth, and
some awesome.
Then I do. Yeah. I mean, because this has been probably whenever people ask about what I do, to get clients, or like what my hacks, tips, and tricks are, the Facebook groups are my number one hack. I tell people. So to have literally the expert on is unreal.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Love it.
It's awesome. Thank you for having me on here. It's freaking amazing. I love it.
Yeah, everybody's saying great info, great feedback. So I hope we get you some new clients too as well, Marty.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Get some books sold.
Yeah, and next time if we get me back on here again, and I'll try to break down like the personal branding groups. Go into those in more detail.
Yeah,
that's because I really do think that it's about longevity. At the end of the day, it's about thinking, hey, I'm going to be in this business a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So I need, how do I set myself to make it easier as time goes on? And that's what your personal branding group will do for you. It'll make things easier as time goes on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, lots of good comments coming in. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Marty. We appreciate your time, just more than you know. And we'll see everybody on next week. We're still working on our next speaker. We have a big one coming on. He may or may not be next week, so we'll let you know. But we will be on next Monday, 6:30 Eastern time and 5:30 Central time, and then they're on. So look forward to seeing you guys next week, and hope everybody has a good Monday evening. And thank you again.
We have a lot of people. We have a lot of good speakers.
Yeah, and make sure you let me know about that so I can help spread it out there for you too. So
yes,
if it's a new link or same link, whichever one is, send it to me, and I'll definitely get it in front of a lot of people.
Perfect. Thank you, Marty.
Awesome.
Thanks, Marty. So nice to meet you.
Hey, thank you. Good to meet you too.
Have a great week, everybody.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.